Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to play an unpopular tank. A tank that is never played. You know, it's never been popular because, of course, it is a Valkyrie tank that has been made up, really. And, yeah, people never really liked this back in the day. It was one of the first tanks to be kind of these mega made up sort of tanks. I bought them, and to be honest, I don't mind these made up tanks. I think they're okay. Some of them are really good. Some of them are more enjoyable than the others, and some of them are really bad. When the tanks were first released, way before mega OP tanks were released, the tanks were actually okay. There were some really good tanks. The Lupus, for example, you know, the Bacon tank, very good and was considered very OP. And of course, we've got the tank that has no name. That has no name. It's so bad that it's got no name. So they just called it Nameless. So it's got no name. It has got a name. It's a joke, and the name is actually Nameless. So basically, it is a Tiger tank. Kind of like a Tiger tank, but not very good. Back in the day, it weren't too bad. You know, I don't think it was actually too bad. The armor profile was okay. But yeah, nowadays, you try and play it now, and it just feels poor. It really does. Of course, it's a tier 7 tank. It's a premium tank. I do think that Wargaming should update these. I know they're updating some, but especially all these kind of tanks, they should make us collectibles now instead of premiums, just so I can freaking sell it and get a little bit of gold back. So we're going to look at the stats, and then we're just going to have a couple of games. So turret, 130 millimeters on turret and 156 on your hull. So actually armor profile isn't as bad when you're playing sort of tier 6s. When you're playing tier 8s, everything will be able to penetrate you, and it just feels absolutely shit. DPM 2054, nothing crazy. I mean, it's not the worst, but it's okay, to be fair. And that is a 9-second reload. Penetration is 189 on the AP and 231 on your APCR. Again, nothing too crazy. Alpha, 310 alpha on the AP, 265 on your APCR, and 420 on your HG. Aim time, 5.3. Yeah, very shocking for aim time, and dispersion isn't great either at 0.350. 8 degrees of gun depression with a top speed of 32 kilometers per hour. So yeah, stat wise, nothing crazy. It doesn't, like, there's nothing that shouts amazing with the tank. Like, I know it's an old tank, and these kind of mega old tanks, they never used to be OP. Like, they never used to be crazy. They used to be good, but some of them used to be obviously OP. But these are before the days now. Like, nowadays, most tanks that come out are super strong. Or, well, not all tanks, but a lot of tanks. And you don't really get tanks like this anymore. Are they going to produce more tanks like this? Obviously, they just have with the sort of made-up tank with the ground tank. But honestly, I would prefer Wargaming to add these kind of tanks again. I don't mind them. I know there are people out there, what the hell are you talking about, Meadsy? It's a made-up tank. Honestly, it's a game. It's a game. Who cares if it's real or not? As long as it's got a freaking track and it's got a gun, who cares if it's made up? Most of the tech tree tanks are made up. People don't complain about that, like the E5. Like, people don't sit there and say, I'm never playing the E5. It's a completely made up tank. But however, the Nameless here, or the Lupus, or anything like that, people won't touch because it's a made up tank. And I know a lot of the tanks, they've gone sort of by the blueprint, etc. It was supposed to be made, and it didn't end up being made, so blah blah. But yeah, honestly, I don't mind these made up tanks as long as they're good. As long as they're good. If they're shit, then yeah, get rid of them. We don't want a shit tank. So that, again, there are you got the Edelweiss as well that come at the same time as the Nameless, and I really enjoyed them back in the day, probably because there was sort of nothing else like them. Of course, you had the Tigers, but back when this was released, the Tigers wasn't as strong as they used to be. Like nowadays, you play the Tiger 2, which you can see here, or the Tiger 1, or even the Tiger P, you know, they wasn't half as strong as they used to be. So the Nameless it felt better. It did feel better. And the Edelweiss as well, it's like a Panther. And again, the Panthers wasn't really that great. However, the Edelweiss just felt really different, and it felt fun to play. You try and play the Edelweiss now, and you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle to play them, because they really, really are a struggle to play. Most of these tanks are now. You even play the Lupus now, and considering how strong the Lupus used to be when it was first released, mainly because of the gun depression is absolutely insane, and the armor profile was pretty decent as well when you're using that gun depression. But yeah, people don't play them no more. People don't play them. Wargaming don't sell them. Very, very rare Wargaming sell these tanks, these Valkyrie tanks, and all these proper made-up tanks. Every now and again, of course, yeah, they might sell them as a single, and then they might sell them as a sort of a quad where you could buy 4 tanks for a certain price. But yeah, no one's playing them. No one's playing them. They've never really been a popular tank, even when they were first introduced to the game. I bought this tank as soon as it came out, and actually I think my first replay was on this map. So yeah, it's probably going to be one of the last times I play the tank as well, because yeah, I don't enjoy playing it. No one else enjoys playing it. No, that's probably why no one plays the tank anymore. Literally hardly anyone. Go have a look at Blitzstars. In fact, after this game, we'll have a look at Blitzstars ourselves, and we'll show you over the last 90 days just how many people have been playing the tank. So what do Wargaming have to do to make these tanks popular? Like, if they buff the tank and make it insane, are they then going to be popular? Are they going to be popular, and are people going to buy them because they're insane? Of course, yes, people will do, and people will play it, but there's still going to be players out there that, no matter how good the tank is, like take this Smasher, for example, and the Annihilator, it doesn't matter how good they are, there will still be people out there that won't play the tank because it's like a completely made up tank, and they don't like them, and they just want realistic tanks, which is fine. You know, that's your choice, and that's absolutely fine. But me personally, if they're a good tank and I really want it, I'll buy it. Whether or not it's a made-up tank, I care less. I care less whether it's a real tank or a made-up tank. But I get some people out there that do care. And that, again, that's absolutely fine if you do care and you only want realistic tanks. That is absolutely fine, and that's your opinion. And everybody, you know, that's your own opinion, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And no one's forcing you to buy these kind of tanks. But one thing for sure that someone is forcing you to do, no matter if you like these tanks or not, you're going to have to come up against them. So whether you like made-up tanks or not, you're still going to have to come up against them. Now, there was a call back in the day for Wargaming to sort of have a switch button, like an on and off button, where you can turn off these kind of tanks. Do you think they should do something like that? I don't know. Probably not now, because again, all these proper made-up tanks are not popular now, and no one is kind of playing them. So I don't think now they should do that kind of button, that switch where you can only have real tanks or realistic tanks or whatever. But let's head over to Blitzstars just to show you guys how many people have played the Nameless in the last 90 days. So here we are with the Nameless, and those of you that don't use Blitzstars, like, it's just go on a website, go onto Blitzstars, and you can compare tanks, you can have a look at all different kind of stats. You can also upload Hall of Fame, so if you've done the highest, you can have a look what the highest ever damage is in a tank, at least for the period, and if you beat it, you can upload your replay, and then you will have a spot on their Hall of Fame. So if you've never used Blitzstars, do go check it out, because it is a pretty good app. So if we go all the way down to the bottom here, you will see data for the last 90 days. So it's got the win rate there, win rate 53, and it's got the average damage, and then it's got the damage ratio, and then average kills, and then past that, all the way down to the bottom, players. So over the last 90 days across all servers, only 8 players. only 8 players have been playing this tank. Now, you look at my recent video with the most popular tanks, where you've got things like the Frosty, which has like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of players that have played the tank. This has 8. Just 8. And I'm one of them. I'm one of them, because I made the video. So yes, 7 other players across the whole world have only been playing this game. So that all just goes to show how unpopular this tank is at the moment. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you're one of those 8 that are still playing this tank. But for now, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye.